Hey, how's it going? I'm Jake Stidham. First, I want to apologize for the poor lighting. My baby's asleep in the other room, and that's where most of the light is. This room is terrible for lighting. Um, I did my second career profile on youth correctional counseling. This was a really interesting one. I actually have a friend, a neighbor, so one of my parents' friends that did this for the state of California for the Human Resources Department. So I'm going to be talking about that a little bit. Just to start, her name was Debbie Hope, so when I say Debbie, now you know who I'm referring to. But what really made me think to do this one actually kind of stems back to a story of my own when I was a little kid. Once, one of our neighbors, he was a little older than I was, and he was always getting into trouble. And I remember all of a sudden he went away, and um, I found out later he had went to a place called Juvenile Detention Center, and I was like, "What's that?" That's when I learned about juvenile hall. But we went to go visit him and play basketball with him there, and there was someone that was around him or watching him at all times, and I thought that was really strange. As I grew up, obviously, I realized what it was or who it was, and looked into it a little bit and found several different careers that could be wrapped around those juvenile detention centers. But the one that intrigued me the most actually applies to this major, and that is a youth correctional counselor. What Debbie Hope was able to explain to me was she was kind of a, a final say for a lot of their parole hearings. The youth, she would meet with troubled youth that had gone through difficult things, or who had been arrested, or who had criminal records, and she would meet with them. In her words, she said first to determine whether or not they were a threat to themselves or others. If they were, then there were greater measures that needed to be taken. But if not, then she would continue forward to find out, okay, what kind of parole should these kids be on, and what is a program we could create for them in order to improve. And all of her focus was around helping these misunderstood or troubled youth to find a way to improve themselves. She said that it was incredibly satisfying to be able to see these kids grow and become just outstanding or better citizens. She specifically worked for the California Department of Human Resources. She was hired on quite some time ago, and I didn't ask her directly, but I looked it up online, and it said that the average annual salary of someone starting for a government agency as a youth uh, correctional counselor was right around 55,000 annual salary, but could go as high as about 100,000. So it's quite impressive. And there are also private practices where honestly the price could go as high as they want to pay you, but they said for those private practices it was quite a bit more than government, anywhere from 80 to 120. Quite impressive. Said some of the things that stressed her out the most in that position was just the fact that she was dealing with these youth that had had such hard lives. She didn't want to add any difficulty, but she also didn't want to baby them in their process of improving. She also said it was kind of tough sometimes when they'd give her some lip or back talk that it was just a bunch of teenagers still, no matter what, and she was just helping them out, doing her best, so she'd have to deal with a lot of those stresses that came. The typical benefits she had, just normal health benefits. She only worked part-time, so she didn't have access to all the benefits that are given to those who are full-time. But as I explained, she would make sure that these youth were fit to return back to normal everyday living. She had a 4-year college degree. She actually did have a master's degree as well, although it's not necessary for the position she was in. It was helpful for her. Um, she said to her one of the greatest things about working for the California Department of Human Resources is that she was able to relocate twice without having difficulty of finding a new job, just because there are needs for youth correctional counselors in any part of California. And since it's all under the same California government. Then wherever she can find government buildings, she can find jobs. So it was really helpful for her. But hope you liked my little bit of an introduction into what a youth correctional counselor was. Have a great rest of your day.